President Obama's first trip to sub-Saharan Africa since taking office. The president arrived overnight, has already begun a busy day of meetings, and Ron Claiborne, our colleague, is in Ghana with the latest. Good morning, Ron. Good to see you.
Hey, good morning, Kate. Well, it is going to be a whirlwind trip. The president's meeting with the president of Ghana, having breakfast this morning. He's visiting a hospital and delivering a major address on Africa during his visit here. But more than the substance, it is the symbolism that has Ghana all excited about this visit. President Obama, accompanied by his wife and daughters, arrived late Friday from the G8 summit in Italy. Even before he set foot on African soil, Ghana was going wild for Obama.
Obama, Obama, Obama.
In the capital, Accra, the streets are festooned with thousands of billboards welcoming Obama. Souvenir shops and street peddlers hawk every imaginable form of Obama paraphernalia. American flags are everywhere.
Oh, I'm very, very excited about Obama because he's the first black man to be a president of the United States of America.
And as if there weren't enough natural excitement,
Welcome, Obama, welcome to
the government has been trying to whip up the fervor with a television campaign, notably lacking in subtlety.
Like how the phantom from drums herald the coming of a great African chief, the voices of the people of Ghana with one accord welcome a distinguished son of Africa.
Obama chose Ghana for his first trip to sub-Saharan Africa as president because it is a stable democracy with a growing economy, a rare combination in Africa, and, he says, a model for others.
Ghana has now undergone a couple of successful elections in which power was transferred peacefully, even a very close election.
It's not as if an American president hasn't been here before, or even recently. President Bush was here just last year. And who can forget the crushing crowd that greeted President Clinton during his 1998 visit? But Obama's brief visit, not even 24 hours on the ground, is special.
It's a very genuine outpouring of affection towards the president. We can't do away with the idea that we feel he's one of us.
About the only sour note, there are no events open to the general public. Very few Ghanaians will have the opportunity to see Obama in person. A huge disappointment for many in this tiny African country. The White House is not saying why there are no public events, but security has got to be a concern. In that Clinton visit back in 1998, there were huge crowds, but they bordered at times on the chaotic. You would think in this post-9/11 world, the White House does have concerns about the safety of the president while he's here on this trip. And joining me now is the senior White House correspondent, Jake Tapper, traveling with the president. Jake, what does the president hope to accomplish, if anything, on this brief trip to Ghana?
Well, he wants to send a very clear message to Africans that Ghana is a shining example of democracy, of good governance, of the orderly transfer of power. And he also wants to send a signal to the world that Africa is not just a place of tragedy and famine and war, that there are good things being accomplished here.
And he spoke to some African heads of state when he was still in Italy for the G8 summit and gave them a pretty stern message. What can you report about that?
Well, it's very interesting. He talked about how, as a descendant of Kenyans, he knew firsthand the effect of colonialism and exploitation by the West in terms of the effect on his grandfather, who was called Boy up until his death, his father. But then he turned and said, you know, my cousin in Kenya, he can't get a job without paying a bribe. And you can't blame all of the problems of Africa on the historical legacy of colonialism. The G8 is not requiring bribes. You can't blame the West for what's happened to Zimbabwe's economy in the last decade. So it's a little dollop of tough love for the African leader.
Do you get the sense, Jake, that only as the son of an African could this U.S. president deliver and get away with that kind of stern message?
I think that there's a certain only Nixon can go to China message, the idea that because he is who he is, he can be tougher with these leaders publicly and privately than say, somebody of a different heritage. Absolutely.
Oh, and Kate, a measure of the enthusiasm here in Ghana for this visit by President Obama. On the state evening news last night, the anchor was wearing a Barack Obama dress.